Welcome back to another episode of Nebraska Shootaround. I'm Jacob Padilla. Joining me is Drake Keeler today as we are going to break down the first 3-0 start of the Fred Hoiberg era at Nebraska. Since we last recorded, they picked up 2 more wins against Florida A&M and Rider. Not the prettiest of wins, but they got it done. Won handily against Florida A&M. Took that one 81-54, and then followed it up with a 64-50 win against Rider. That was probably a little bit more dramatic than it needed to be. But let's start with that Florida A&M game. I think the takeaway is the performance from Rienk Mast, who put up 20 points, 16 rebounds, the first 2015 game since Alex March, who was a very, very, very good basketball player for Nebraska. What was your kind of takeaway from seeing what Mast did in that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously really good. And I've liked what I've seen from him early just this season. He's been really just enjoyable to watch in that front court. I think he brings a lot to it. Just the rebounding, obviously the scoring. He's leading the team in points per game right now, obviously 3 games in. But I really like what he's shown there. So I don't know. I think it was a really good performance from him, like you said. And I'm excited to see what he continues to do.
Yeah, outside of that, I mean, they put up 81 points, but it was a lot of that just had to do with the number of possessions,
Right.
more so than a great offensive game. They shot 41% from the field, did hit 10 threes, shot 36% there. So that's kind of above that point where you need to be, but 18 turnovers. So yeah, 41% from the field, 18 turnovers. It's not what you want to see moving forward, especially against a team that was overmatched. Unfortunately, it did not get better.
No,
in the second game.
Did not.
64-50 was the final against Rider. It was a 1-point game in the second half with about 10 minutes to go. Fortunately, Nebraska locked in and pulled away, got it done. But it wasn't necessarily an encouraging game from an offensive standpoint. They shot 33% from the field, 20% from 3, 13 assists, 11 turnovers. The most important story from this one, though, is the return of Keisei Tominaga.
Yep.
Very first possession of the game.
Just
off its stagger screen,
yep.
Step back 3 first time he touched it, which, I mean, that's the only way that they could welcome Keisei back, right?
Yeah.
But ended up finishing 3 of 13 from the field, 3 of 11 from 3, scored 9 points, 1 assist, no turnovers in 22 minutes. I guess what did you make of Keisei's return?
Yeah, he was certainly ready to be back, as evidenced by that first possession. Defender goes on his screen, he steps back and pulls it. I think then he got his first 3, made 3 of the year. I think Bryce did not think he was going out to the wing on that pass, but he let it trickle out, hit it. So, I mean, obviously, he's going to have that kind of green light this year to shoot those shots. And, you're going to hope that some of those threes go in at a higher rate than what he showed. And obviously they'll trust him on that. So, it obviously you're not worried or anything. And it was good to see him back out there.
Yeah, and he was certainly hunting some shots there that maybe those are the shots that you take when he's already hit a few, and not when you're trying to get back into the swing of things for the first time this season.
Right.
I think among his 11 threes, there were 3 step backs. There's a pull up. There's a couple from a few feet behind the line, 1 or 2 contested, but he also had some really good looks that didn't go down. And they'll live with those all season long. So I think most important thing is to get him back out there, get him into the flow of things, start play with the new teammates, because that is, I think, the most important thing moving forward now is getting everybody back and figuring out what the rotation looks like, the offensive roles, kind of how everybody clicks. Because, like we said, it wasn't a great game against Florida A&M. It got worse against Rider. It just got really stagnant.
It did not really seem, like you said, stagnant. It just did not seem like much. They know what they were doing offensively, really.
Yeah.
And it just did not look like anything was clicking, really, for much of the first half in particular. Obviously didn't, improve that much, but, it was certainly rough. Most of it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just whoever had the ball trying to back their man down to get into the paint. They had help waiting on a lot of that stuff, or They're just forcing up over the top, contested shots there. There were a few stretches there where it's like, all right, that's great ball movement. You got a wide open three, you got a dump down for a dunk or to get a teammate fouled. Like that stuff needs to be more consistent. And I think they're still kind of finding like what this offense is going to be. Again, different guys in and out of the lineup. I mean, Eli Rice goes from scoring 16 in the Florida A&M game, played 1 3-minute stint in this one with Keisei back. Obviously, mints are going to have to come from somewhere, and did hit a corner three, but also gave up an offensive rebound for a putback with no box out, and also got really lucky on a pass through traffic that Rienk caught and finished with a step through, but things should have gotten picked off. So they're still kind of figuring out, all right, what is this thing going to look like? But they did put it together in time to win this game when it was starting to look pretty dicey. We've seen Nebraska lose these games in the past where you let a team hang around and then down the stretch, ball doesn't go in. You make a couple of bad plays and the other team steals one early in the non-conference. 47-46 it was. Nebraska proceeded to go on a 17-0 run over the next 9 minutes and 11 seconds. 9 minutes, 11 seconds without a bucket there. Rider went 0 for 12 from the field. And there was a good mix of, all right, help side picking it up. They had some really good plays where either they forced turnovers that led to transition opportunities, or they forced misses at the rim because they had a guy rotating over there and challenging. So they were in good spots there. They also, Rider missed a lot of good threes, pretty open looks during that stretch. It just could not make it. So a little bit of Nebraska executing well, a little bit of some shot variance luck there. Nebraska only shot 5 of 12 themselves during that stretch. It wasn't like they immediately fixed their offense, but I think the key was getting out and running. Jamarcus Lawrence had a few really nice plays there, pushing the pace, making good decisions, getting guys open. And what started it was Keisei back-to-back threes. There's one in transition and then the one off. So they ran a baseline play for him. He had just missed one. They got the ball back and ran a baseline play for him, fading the corner, falling out of bounds behind the backboard, put it in. And then the next time got one in transition, knocked it down, and that kind of started that run there. But it's a mixed bag of a game. They had 3 guys in double figures. CJ Wilcher came off the bench with Tominaga back in the lineup and led the team with 13 points, went 3 of 5 from 3, 5 boards. He had most of that in the first half and still got some defensive things to clean up. I think there was one play where CJ knocked down a 3, went down on the other end. His man cuts from one wing all the way to the other side of the court. He just got his head turned, turns on, like, where'd he go? And starts spraying off, and the dude buries a 3, so gave it right back immediately. Like there were some lapses like that throughout. But overall, you hold a team to 30% from the field. I think you'll be happy with that. So 3-0 start. You mentioned Mast has been great. 15 points, almost 12 boards a game, leading them. Bryce Williams he's still kind of, I think, figuring things out too. He's getting to the line. That's a good thing. He's not making shots from the field. He hit a few threes, but it's had a tough time finishing inside the arc, whether finishes at the rim or in the post or whatever. That's an area where he's going to have to be better. But I mean, you're seeing some good things there where he could fit in, and CJ's off to 43% from 3, 10.7 points, kind of looking more like the guy that we saw 2 years ago than last year. The key moving forward is, one, getting healthy, and it sounds like Ramel Lloyd Jr. will be available. As we record this on Wednesday, Nebraska has a game against Stony Brook Wednesday night, and also it sounds like Jawan Gary potentially could be back, if not tonight, maybe up in Sioux Falls. So that would be big to get those guys back, to have most of your pieces available, and then we can start figuring out what this rotation looks like. Whatever the rotation looks like, they need better point guard play. Combined, Jerron Coleman and Jamarcus Lawrence are putting up 8 points, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, and roughly 25% shooting. And I mean, part of that, how stagnant the offense is, can probably be traced back to some of that point guard play. And I mean, Hoiberg talked throughout the offseason, like, obviously everybody's going to handle the ball. We're going to run our offense through our bigs, but at the same time, the ball is sticking with guys that do catch on the perimeter, and guys are trying to do too much on their own. So you need someone to kind of get them a little bit more organized, make sure that, hey, when they start to fall into some bad habits, that someone kind of brings them out of it, gets them back into what it should look like. So hopefully those guys can start playing better. Again, they got busy stretch up here. Stony Brook is part of the Cornhusker Classic, which is a 4-team event where Nebraska does not complete the event until next week.
Yep.
With Duquesne. So it's kind of been interesting. It's everybody's playing each other, round robin deal. Nebraska's hosting all 3, and then the others are playing each other at their place. And then Oregon State up in Sioux Falls, correct? Yeah. So that will be coming up on the weekend. We will recap it next week. Anything else that you think we need to hit on here?
Yeah, no, you pretty much covered it. I think, like you said, you're seeing a lot of things kind of you like here and there, but they haven't really made it all click together yet. And really interesting to see, how they're able to kind of put that together and how it comes together and to, I guess, what level they're able to get to do that.
Yep. So hopefully they'll continue to progress, and we will talk about it again next week here at Nebraska Shootaround.